Hey, how's it going? So pulled some cards. I pulled three. Okay, come on now. Okay. I pulled, the usual things. One from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck. And then, uh, well, the intent was to pull one card from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit. I don't know why it's so hard for me to remember that. The Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck. And I pulled one, but it was stuck to another one, so I pulled two. And I will talk about the Shaman's Dream Oracle one first. Hold on. Okay. It's ungodly hot. I just want you to know that. I have like a fan pointed directly at me. Otherwise, I'd be full on sweating right now. And this is this is supposed to be the coolest room in the house. It used to be, but boy, not anymore since it's gotten so hot the way it does. Anyway, from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck, I pulled number 51, Stars in the Sky, Limitless Possibilities. And you can see there's a figure on there that seems to be made completely of light. And she's in the lotus, I believe it's called the lotus position, with the mudras like this. And if you notice, this part of the mudra, I'm going to put it closer, but it's kind of small, so it's hard to see. I hope that you will be able to focus on that. I kind of can't. I see it, but it's real blurry, so I'm hoping it's not that blurry for you. And it's going up into the sky, into the night sky. And it's sort of, well, it's a point of illumination. It is a person. And they're sitting on this arched bridge, and if you look at the top of it, it looks like there's vegetation that the figure's sitting on, but it's blue. But that's another one of those things where that's not necessarily like Earth. It could be anywhere, right? Where there's blue grass, like actual blue hue and not green grass that's called blue. I don't know if you know about like grass seed. Somewhere I picked that up, like Kentucky blue is like not blue, it's green. Anyway, but if you look underneath, I noticed that it's like it's wood too. There seems to be like very old weathered planks supporting the archway from underneath. And I'm not real sure what is over. Like where's this supposed to be? But I know that the book is going to talk about like all of the stars in the sky, and obviously the possibilities. I mean, the metaphor is so obvious. But when I was thinking of all of the stars in the sky as the metaphor, it reminded me of. I mean, I've talked about it a million times, and it's sort of the fabric of everything, and or like the wash tub with everything in it. And there's liquid that's moving things around, and it's affected by emotion, and whatever affects the world is affecting this water and the people, because the people are in the water, they're of the water. And but the one that is most apt for all of the stars that I have said a lot is a fabric, like literal fabric, like a carpet, where the weave, like each strand in the weave is only going to be able to perceive so far directionally around it. Like it's it's got its own job that it's carrying out. And just, we're talking about a thread, right? But a thread as a person. So, but as a thread, you're not going to be able to perceive much around you. You're not really equipped to as a thread, but it kind of makes me feel like it's your lane, and you know what you're doing in your lane. You know what you have to do. You know what you have to do in relation to the lanes that are next to you that you can perceive because you are directly interacting with them. And while that's all going on, like its own little thread world, beyond like the thread horizon, you don't know what's going on any more than you do on land or at sea or flying over the earth somehow and whatever you call arcing the curve of the earth. But you can't see anything until you go right up to the edge and go over, right? So basically a thread can only go where it's sent, where the weave sends it. It's not like it has autonomy. So yeah, I mean, it's like, you know where you are, you know what you're supposed to be doing, and you know there's other stuff going on around you and far out of sight, and you may not necessarily know what that is, but you don't have to, because if you're doing your thing and you're fulfilling your role, whatever the specifics of that is, like you might be like a doctor or like you have some occupation and it serves all the other threads as well as you. And then beyond your focal point, I guess, then that's where other stuff is happening. But it's like, it almost sounds like the other stuff happening would be unrelated to the first thread, but it's not. Because the way that life works, stuff goes on out of sight, out of our knowing, all the time. And it is those other mechanics of like life that are happening that act in concert with whatever like you and your threads are doing. Like it's all the concerted effort. Like it's not just one person or one group, and everybody and everything has an effect on everybody and everything, and we might not be able to perceive it or sense it at all because it's just not in our vicinity, or it's just not in our lane, like what if you wish for something, right? And you want like a house or a car or something, and maybe you've come to the end of what you feel like you can do to affect that change or make it happen. And you kind of just have to make the wish and let it go, and go back to your business and continue with your life, and hope and dream and pray and all of that. And we like to think that hoping and dreaming and praying don't really matter much, but it really does. If you can give yourself positive affirmations all the time and visualize what it is you want in your projected future, and you have to build up to it. Usually you don't just go from Joe Blow to Joe Millionaire. There's some work that has to go on in the middle, and in that work is you and a whole bunch of other people. But I mean, that's the way it works. And so if you ask for something and you just have to let it go because you've done all you can do, a lot of times eventually your wish will come true. Like that thing, or I'm just going to leave it at thing. will come into like your hands basically. Like you'll get the thing you want. It may not arrive exactly the way that you imagine it, or the way that you have dreamt it up, but remember, when you let go of something and it's out of your hands, it then, if it's going to continue to what you want it to do and happen, it's going to be in somebody else's hands. And like about probably something else I might tell, but you really got to trust blah blah blah, that they'll do the right thing, or they'll, well, yeah, if they'll, whoever picks up where you left off, you hope they do the right thing. Let's just say that they do. And so you don't know what that is, but it might end up being the things that get your wish into your hands, because it's not just you doing stuff, it's you and everybody affecting each other. Like, I'll stop talking about it, but I'll make it clear in this little last thing. You live in a place, and all of your stores and all of your businesses have people in them that have families, and they have children that need to go to school, and they got to eat, and they got to buy clothes, and they got to buy cars, and they got to get their cars fixed. And you know what I'm saying? In your community, you have all of these things going on, operations, venues, or not venues, but merchants, and, well, maybe a venue, merchants, bar, school, everything that's in your town. The point is that everybody in that same town is doing something that the other persons in their town are coming to them to. So you may not like totally know them personally, but like I live up the street from Les Schwab, which is like a sort of all-purpose auto shop, and I don't have a car, but I know that you can bring your car there and have them take care of everything for you. So that is an example of what I'm talking about. Like, you're going to take your car to the nearest best place that you can find, and it's going to be somebody that probably doesn't live another state away. They probably live in your same town. So what I'm saying is, you and a bunch of strangers are working together for each other. Like, that's the carpet right there, and it's all over everywhere, like everywhere, everything. And if you don't want to call it the carpet, make up your own similar metaphor. But that's what I was thinking about with the stars. Or that's what the stars reminded me of, is just that there's so many pieces to the puzzle, and we're only really aware of like our, what are we looking at? Our goals. So what do we want? What do we want to achieve? We're not, most of us, I don't think, because people, I've not really heard them talking about this, but we just like do our own thing and patronize the businesses and stuff because they're there, and you're not really thinking about like, oh, this is my neighbor, unless you see your neighbor that works there in the place. But it's kind of really impersonal. And that also reminded me of the stars, because they're so far away from us. Like, they're just even hard to see. Like, you gotta have some sort of artificial enhancement on your eye to be able to see better than you can with the naked eye. You can get more detail with a telescope. But each of those points of light is also far from each other. And that's kind of how we are. It's like we're all in the same place. We're in the same sky, but we might just only be paying to ourselves or our families, and not give much consideration to everybody around us and how much they actually directly affect us, and vice versa. Like, I don't think we just are really thinking about life and each other's parts in it that closely. I don't know. I don't know. People might be like, I haven't had the conversation with anyone, so I don't know what other people think. But it's the person, well, actually, it's a woman. I can see that because anatomy, but this illustration, I don't think it's like very, I think it's hard to see details, so I'm not going to worry about covering it. But she is really intent. Like, she's actually not even really there. I would say that she has left the, like, astral traveled out of her body and just left this light, like, skin behind, peeling. She left her rind behind. But, you know, she's coming back. She's communing with the stars, with all the stars there, with the little mudra stream into the heavens. And below is just, it's like the same color and everything blends in, and it looks like she extends all the way down here, but this is not her. In fact, you can see everything up there is sky, down here is not. That's like, I don't know, some kind of mid-light. And really calm looking. It looks nice, looks pleasant, looks cool, looks a little chilly, but that can be dealt with. It's not like a deal breaker. Anyway, I've rambled. Let me read what the book has to say. Stars in the sky, limitless possibility, embracing opportunity. When you look up into this velvety dark blanket of the sky, of the night sky, covering the vast expanse of space, can you count all of the stars twinkling above? Can you imagine that you are only glimpsing a teeny sliver of what is actually there? This is the domain of limitless possibility, of the never-ending sea of potential that you yourself are made of, and have now at your disposal. Your life now is alive with possibility and needs your clear focus to hone in on the avenue of exploration most calls for you. I think there should be a that there too, but okay. Let me read that again, that sentence. Your life right now is alive with possibility and needs your clear focus to home in on what avenue of exploration most calls for you. Okay, I guess it doesn't need that. I think I might still put one if it were me. It's time to choose and not be distracted by the sheer magnitude of what may be. Be here now. Be here now. Gather your thoughts and your most cherished dreams. Focus on the brightest star in your never-ending sky and take small steps, small movements toward calling this glittering potential into reality. If you can imagine this and hold that vision, you will summon all the celestial helpers and guides to aid you in bringing it into fruition. Keep your focus on the essence of potential rather than the form of it. The universe has its own ideas of how best to serve you and all of us at the same time. Back to the carpet. And also, like what I was saying about, you might imagine your wish one way, but what you'll get may not resemble it much at all. And that's just kind of like a verification for what I was saying, that the universe is going to handle that stuff when it's out of your hands, so you have no control. Truth. Trust this as fact rather than theory, and you ought not act surprised when your dreams come true, for surely they will, exactly how you need them to. Not exactly how you want them to, though. I must stipulate that. And that's okay, because a lot of times I usually know when I have been like wanting something, hoping, praying, asking, everything across the board, uh, I will usually know when it's arrived, and well, it doesn't take too many times for you to, if you realize that it's come, but it's not how you expect it. You kind of expect that, like you just not gonna know until it happens. You're not gonna know how or what it's gonna look like or anything. And the first couple of times that happened, I was kind of like, well, I guess it's okay, but it's not what I wanted. But the thing is the the things about it that were not your own, of your own making. Really, if you stop, like, sort of complaining about the outcome and like the wrongness of it, what you get instead is really beneficial. So I mean, it's not like it's gonna go away, but I personally, if I'm gonna get all bent out of shape because something isn't happening the way I want it, I now know to, at some point, calm the F down and just let things happen, because trying, worrying, that's an energy that is going to interrupt flow, and it's going to take longer for you to get your wish or your dream, and it's totally interfering with yourself. And it's hard not to. I mean, there's so many things to uncondition ourselves from, that the whole, like, awakening process is, well, I mean, it's fraught with difficulty. there's this makes the whole process interesting, by the that is I don't really sound like I believe in you. I'm working on it. I'm working on enjoying strife, enjoying it, like getting like out of it something. I just want stuff to be easy. Is that so wrong? I've had a hard life. No, I'm kidding. I've actually had I mean, comparatively, I've had some messed up things happen, but I'm alive. I can still do stuff and function. I'm like happy, so that's good. That's most of what we want, right? And I'm not trying to get a bunch of the other stuff like possessions and material luxury items or something like that, because I don't know, less is simpler. Certainly, you don't have to do a lot of pursuing and, I don't know, I guess earning to get certain things like luxury items. So one of the cards I pulled from the wild memory that flies away every time I try to remember the animal cards, okay? The little thief guy. See, the book says all this stuff. It doesn't work for me today. But the little raccoon, you know how I see raccoons? On my deck. With their little hands out asking for food. And I just love them. I mean, you can work up to sort of taming them, although I'm not set up to have a wild animal to keep. Well, I mean, I have my cat, but that's domesticated. I'm not set up to domesticate a raccoon, but they have this certain quality about them that is, well, it's funny that they have the mask like a little robber and that they take stuff, because they're I don't think it's even on the level of like a crow or something, where they like to find constant little buttons and baubles and things. I think that they just like swoop some food, you know. I feel like I know where I am. We've encroached upon their territory, because I mean, I basically live in the city. It's small, but it's, we've got car lots and supermarkets and hospital and all that, but like I live in a really small town, and there's still these guys in the area, and there's wild patches, but ooh, it's civilization is having its way with this area. And speaking of these guys losing their habitat, I had to have like a sub caregiver because mine was out. My regular one was out for a little while, and I had a number of different ones. And one of the ones that I had was telling me that there's all this new construction in the area. In fact, south of here, where like Walmart World is, and there's like fast food and like hardware store and car lots, and they're building a lot of them down there. And it's like, geez, just up the road, like a half an hour or any direction, there's car lots everywhere. There's an auto center further north in like a bigger town, because between where I am and there, pretty much all of the towns are dinky, and most of them have a lot less going on than this one does, but it's being built up. And so the sub caregiver told me that the car lots were being installed by this resident of the area, and I guess she's wealthy, and she's just, people like this bum me out. She's like a striver for money, like just typical of our society, like a well-off person with little regard for what her, chasing the dollar is doing. Like what she does to make the money is kind of, the car lots are being built upon the floodplain. That's what I'm getting at. And there's like flooding dotting this area because there's creeks all around. So yeah, it's like a crisscrossing. You can get to a creek down the road from me in the park that I went to. I made a video about it at Fort Borscht Park. If you go in that direction and then the road curves, you're going to run into the stream again. If you go the other direction on my street and go that way, what do you run into? More streams, because it's called Scatter Creek. It's not in one place. It's like a network of veins. But here where I am, it has flooded like the parking lot. It has been like a couple of feet deep before, and it all, like from the sidewalk, like from the street, it goes down. So actually, I am sort of down I'm in a cul-de-sac already, so I don't know, it goes down. But I was lucky that it didn't like slop over the curb from the parking lot up onto the concrete where the walkway to my door and the buildings are. But it could. I mean, if it was bad enough. I think we're fortunate in a way, in that way here, that it doesn't rain as much as it used to, because with those floodplains being recklessly built upon, when it does rain, and it will eventually, like we still get rain, and it's not time for it right now, but in the wintertime it's going to pick up. And these little guys, I don't know where they go. I guess to my place, or one of these little copses of trees that are here and there. And I wish that the network of people that care about these things, like the habitat of the wild animals, because other people might not be as happy to have a raccoon walk in their open door, or a possum, which has happened. But I do have an open door policy for the little animals. So, yeah, it's like cuddled up and it's sinking back into the dark, like it's gonna disappear from where we are because it's not gonna have anywhere to go. I don't know why. That's like a bummer. Why'd I go there? Oh well. Before I talk about the other card, I just want to interrupt myself and say that speaking of having the door open, usually the possum came in when my cat Moo was still alive about 3 or 4 years ago, and then I've had the cat I have now, Puff, a couple of years now, and yeah, the raccoons are on the porch, and he doesn't try to fight with them, and they don't look like they're attacking him, because usually he'll call me. The cat will come get me and go, come follow me, come follow me. So he's brought me out there, and the raccoons have been out there, and I leave the food out there in the water so they can eat, you know. And I've been told, oh, watch out for them, they're so mean, they're gonna, you know, fight with your cat. They give my cat so much respect, it's amazing. They'll be on the porch and he'll come running over and they'll step aside and let him jump up onto the deck and come in the house. Like they're smart. And it just, so anyway, last night actually, I was sitting in my kitchen, but I was on it's a galley, so it runs along behind me, so the wall where it ends is about 4 or 5 feet from me right now, and I was at that part of the kitchen, so I could see into my living room, and that meant I could see my sliding glass door, which was open because it's hot. And I heard a cat say something, and I looked, and my cat was asleep, and I'm like, who is that? And I go over and look, and it's this other little kitty that I see around. And he just came in and was hanging out, and he was like chirping, and he woke up my other cat, or he woke up my cat, and he ran over, and I thought I was going to have to run over and like separate him, that they were going to fight, and because he usually chases everything out, and he just let this cat, he didn't let him come in, but he didn't stop him. He just, you know, got up off of his chair and sat down and watched him, and he was all the way across the room, like 7 or 8 feet away from the other cat. And the other cat was in the doorway, all indecisive, like, should I come in? Should I come out? Should I come in? And I was happy and amazed that for once my cat did not run away this other cat, because it's so cute. And I want him to come back if he wants to, because he doesn't have a collar, and he's skinny, so, but he's got thick hair. I'm not sure what's going on, but he doesn't have a collar, and neither does mine. I want to feed it. I don't know if that's probably of no use to anyone. But anyway, the other card I pulled from the animal deck was the camel. And I have thought, and I started to write it down, and then I got one word out, and then it just slipped my mind. So I'm not sure what I was going to write, and I'm still bummed about it. But the camel, we know, well, I hope we know, for what I wrote in the book, I know I'm all over the place. What I wrote in the book was not deterred. As in, whatever happens is just going to be all, whatever, and keep plodding along. Like, the camel in its environment would be difficult for this human, because I would be unaccustomed to it, and I would not know how to necessarily keep myself alive. You know, like find water and food and not get bitten by something poisonous or something like that. But the camel is a great companion in a place like that, because they are equipped to deal with it. They got like the eyes set up so that the sand, like they can survive a sandstorm. But they have like several like necessitating layers of eyelid, so they got the outer eyelid, and then I think they got a couple of like wetter membrane ones that specifically to block like sand from slicing up their eyes. And then their coats are very thick. You know, they have the lumps on their back that are filled with fat, and so you know, they, even though they can find food, they can. The camel knows how to find food for themselves in that environment. But they can carry us Phoebes to where we can find some. But the thing is very little is gonna make it want to slow down and stop, and that's a good companion to have in a in a situation where you basically can't care for yourself. And I guess I think it's more about it being a state of mind to have than having the companion. But I mean, we can be multiple personalities within ourselves. Like a part of your personality could be camel, you know, to give you extreme fortitude. And also, like, I know that they're known to be spitters, but I think you really have to aggravate them, like push them to that place where they're going to get irritated enough to start spitting at you. I know some have bitten, but I know that the ones that I've learned that did that had been abused. So they're just really stolid, is that a word? Stalwart and solid animals to have along your side, which is why the people that live where these animals are native to use them as livestock and transportation. They are a valuable commodity. So if you have the personality where you're just not deterred and you're going to keep plodding on because, you know, whatever is going on around you might not be great, but it doesn't have to stop you. I mean, the camel can see like whatever's going on either side and just shrug and keep going. It's got its own business. It doesn't need to stop and get involved with other stuff. So I guess to sum up, what all of them have to do with each other is, it seems like to me they're just all different threads in like the carpet of the world, really, you know. But I'm seeing it on like a personal level very much too, you know. Pardon me. I don't think I have anything more to say on that, but I feel like I should sew it up or something. Yeah, it could be daunting to be... What am I doing on time here? Oh my goodness, I need to stop. It could be daunting to be faced with all of this, and this person is also like the camel. Like, they're well equipped to deal with it. They're actually like communing with it and getting in tune with it. Like, again, they have this astral body or this empty shell, and it just makes me think of astral travel, even though I feel like this is what we look like on astral travel. But I think, or in when we're in astral travel, but I think that's also like somebody else's impression I got from somewhere that's what astral body looks like, because to me it's like what's left behind after you go on your astral travels. Like, you just leave, you know, you leave your physical body, but there's just sort of like minor operations going on, the necessary autonomous functions. But you can't just take your little brain and be all, I'm going to deal with 1,000 million things all happening at once. And you have to sort of insulate yourself to all of that activity and energy and, you know, like plot a course and just put your head down and plod on through it. And you can certainly access the points of light or the potential and find your way to like your dream or your wish or you. Sorry, I'm just all I guess spastic. I don't mean to keep shaking it. Um, but here you're sort of like out of just your own lane. You're not like your own thread. You do have access here to see what all of the other threads are doing. But in order to absorb that and still function and move along, you need to have the undeterred camel spirit in you. And then these guys, I just feel like we gotta take care of them before they, fade into the darkness. And I just don't want them to go in a bad way. I would like them to be, all of these animals really, that are like where I am now. It used to be all kinds of forest. I can remember since I've lived here when I was still able to work that where the Walmart is and all of those car lots and the fast food places I was talking about, you know what was down there? A Kenilworth trucking depot, I guess. Like where the drivers would go in there and the dispatch was there and I don't know. It was like a trucker place. But that was like the only thing down there really. It was like freeway and forest and crap on either side. And now it's Walmart and Lowe's and like 4 different drive-through coffee places and fast food and blah blah blah. And it's like, man, it's like the ads that have been driving me and other people crazy. Like everywhere they're playing them, they play them too much. They play the same things too often. And I feel like, you know what? Every commercial ad should get like a couple of peak hours a week, and then you know what it is. But if you want something and you're not seeing it, you could go on the internet and find that thing and be directed to the ad place of its own, where you can go to the ads rather than the ads coming to you and interfering with what you're watching and interrupting your stories, darn it. Okay. I also think, like, you just want to have a sense of cute and cuddly in your life and playfulness. Look, I mean, she did so good with the eyes on this guy. I'm going to be done here in a second. But check out, look at those eyes. Oh, come on. Don't you just want to hug that little critter? Okay. I think I made some sense there at the end. Well, not at the end there. That was just me being silly. But, yeah, I think I kind of, sewed it together. Yeah, thank you and good night.